In this video, I'm going to talk about the GCSE Science Advanced Information for OCR 2022. So the most obvious question I imagine you have is, what does this mean for my revision? Well, I think I would summarize information as saying, it's useful, but not incredible, all right? It doesn't rule out as much as you might think it does, but it certainly does give you a list of topics that you can prioritize. So if you really are short of time, then obviously you will revise the topics on that list, but it certainly does not mean that that is all that you can do. So following on from that, do I have to revise every topic? Well, yes, 100% yes. It says very definitely in the guidance that topics that are not mentioned on the list can appear in low mark questions, so 2 mark, 3 mark questions, multiple choice questions, or in what we call synoptic questions. And those are questions that test several topics at once. So it's very possible that a topic isn't mentioned on the advanced information anywhere, and yet it's worth 3 or 4 marks across one or both papers. And 3 or 4 marks is actually quite a lot of marks. That could easily take you up to the next grade boundary. So it really is important that you do, over the course of the next couple of months, revise all of the topics. Now, there's another added complication, that some topics are required in order to understand topics that are listed, even if those topics themselves are not in the advanced information. So let me give you a really, really obvious example. Nowhere in the advanced information does it say you need to be able to add, subtract, multiply, but clearly that information is needed to be able to do any maths question in the biology, chemistry, or physics papers. Now, that's a bit of a silly example, because multiplication is obviously not a topic we specifically teach you in physics or maths or biology, but there are plenty of other examples in the papers like that. For example, in the states of matter or energy topics, you need some information that isn't specifically mentioned on the advanced information to answer the topics that are. There's 2 even more specific examples. B4 and C5 do not appear to be on the advanced information. However, there are 2 quite large practicals that are mentioned that test a significant part of B4 and C5. So it's really important that you trust us and trust your teachers when we say revise everything. And when we give you the PLCs, it's really important you go through it methodically and cover everything, just as you would in every other year. Now, some people might ask, have the papers changed from previous years? The answer is no. So some people seem to think that certain topics have been left out, or certain practicals have been deliberately left out because of this advanced information. That's not the case. These are the same papers that you would get in any other year. They've just told you the main focus of the exam. So really, your preparation should be exactly the same as in previous years. And you have to be aware that there will still be questions like maths questions, like graph questions, like practical skills questions. There will be questions that test your knowledge of unfamiliar situations, just like in any other year. So it's important to get that range of revision that you would normally do. But one difference, as you can see from the writing on the screen, you do get that formula sheet in physics. It's really important you get used to looking at that every time you answer a question in physics. I'll briefly show you those formula sheets again at the end of this presentation. So what are your teachers doing to help you? Well, we're doing a lot. We are planning revision lessons for after the Easter mocks. There's a period of about 4 or 5 weeks where you're going to have dedicated revision. We will be sharing past papers with you before the mock exams in March. We're going to be sharing practical questions. We've got a booklet of questions to give you. We're going to be providing with PLCs and other revision material on MS Teams, such as the Year 10 revision assignments that have already been set. We will be making some guides and some exam walkthroughs, particularly focusing on practicals. You're probably watching this video on the Heathland Science YouTube channel right now, so you can look and see what other videos there are. There are already some physics practical videos, and there will be more in the coming weeks of biology and chemistry. What should you do? Well, really, you should do everything that you would normally do to prepare for an exam. You should certainly listen to your teachers and follow their advice. You should watch the How to Revise Science on the Heathland YouTube channel, where I show you some of the resources I'm going to mention now. And you should complete a range of revision activities. So you will want to look and complete the PLCs that we will share with you. You will want to make sure you go through all of the topics and have a good structured plan for that. BBC Bite Size is also quite good for structuring because it lists all the topics really, really clearly. You will want to use or make yourself some summary notes. You will want to test yourself on basic definitions. You want to use flashcards to test yourself on basic definitions and more complicated explanations. You want to complete past paper questions. You want to do little and often. That is the way to success. So on the screen here, this is the Combined Science Physics equation sheet. You should already have one of these in your exercise books. If you have lost it, then you can use the one in your diary. It's exactly the same formulas written in the same way. The only difference is it's not split up into topics in your diary. This is the physics only one. So this is obviously split into 8 topics rather than 6. Again, you should have this in your exercise books. And if you don't, you can use the one that is in your diary. And then finally, if you are interested in reading the advanced information for yourself and you haven't already, here are the links which we'll share with you on Teams. One really important thing to note: the advanced information does not break up the papers into higher and foundation. It breaks them up into the numbers that the papers are given. So on this slide, it tells you very, very clearly which papers are higher, which papers are foundation. If you do have any questions, you obviously are welcome to ask your teacher at an appropriate time, or you're very welcome to find me and ask me, and I will do my best to help you out with any questions that you have.